Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Back again for a Friday night. Now, we may get interrupted briefly. I've got a courier coming that was supposed to be here like an hour ago, and it's Amazon, so they just sort of show up whenever. So they may show up during the show, which I think is a high likelihood to happen. But that's okay. It'll only be like a second. I just have to run out and grab it and come back in. It is good to see you all. Unfortunately, breaking news out of Australia this morning down here. About what was it, about an hour and a half ago, word started spreading that Virginia Giuffre had died. Unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of detail at first. We didn't like. Well, there shouldn't be a lot of detail anyway, but there wasn't sort of like a lot of confirmation except for a statement from her family. And then some of the local media were able to speak to the police down here, and they were able to confirm sort of what happened this morning. And I will read you that in a second. Hold on, ABC. No, that's not it. Ping, what are you doing? All right, let me get this loaded up. Yeah, really sad. This girl, lady, been through a lot in her life. If you ever listen to any of her testimony throughout the trial, I mean, it's a lot to go through for any person, yet alone at the age that really she was at the time, very, very young. And you think about the horrific details of that, being passed around through expensive men, expecting sex, for basically pocket money, basically like a child. So they would often give her money, but it was like small amounts, and the rest of the money went to the millionaire guy. So it just it's I was one of the people who kind of crapped on her when she did all that stuff about a month ago. And while I felt like my commentary at the time was fair, um, at the same time, I do think that people don't do that type of stuff for fun. They don't just, pretend to be smashed up and injured and posting this stuff where she said it was only supposed to be to family. It tells me that there's something deeper going on there. And then we learned about the divorce and the separation and this AVO that was taken out, not against the husband, against her. And that she had repeatedly breached it several times. It's hard to know. Was there some case of parent alienation going on? Was there some sort of control issues on either side? Like, I don't know. We don't know. And you think after the life she's been through, it's a sad ending. It really is. And she's been in hospital a lot. I was checking out some of her medical records before, not like ones from a hospital, but sort of the ones that were known. I think like almost every year since 2019, she's been in some sort of accident. Terrible thing has happened. She's fallen off a quad bike. Like she had like spinal surgery. She broke her sternum at one point. Cracked her neck at some other point. She's been in and out of hospital for about 5 years. So her final years on this earth were probably not what I would like for someone who went through all that. You would think it would be nice and peaceful and she found her inner peace, but it sounds more like the demons that tormented her throughout her life from the abuse that she suffered continued to follow her, basically. I just not sure if she was ever able to fully, release those demons from her life and those chains that seemed to be holding her down. Even when her life seemed to be getting somewhat different, somewhat better, like she had 3 children. Um, Lovely kids. They look great. And she had that husband for what, 20 years, something like that. She had that husband. But anyway, the, so we would all know the information, most of it by now. So her family confirmed that she died by her own hand at her property in WA, about 80 kilometers north of Perth. They're saying here, I won't read that bit. I think most everyone's already seen that bit. The bit that I found interesting was down here. Not that bit. We know about that. Actually, is this a different article? This might be a different article. Sorry, guys. I don't want to make you dizzy. Yeah, this might be a different article. Ah, here. A WA police spokesperson said emergency services received a report that a woman had been located unresponsive at a residence in near Gabby just before 10 p.m. on Friday. So it was last night. So last night was Friday for us. So 10 p.m. last night was about 4 plus 12, about 16 hours ago. So about 16 hours ago. Police and St. John Ambulance WA attended and provided emergency first aid to the woman. Sadly, the 41-year-old woman was declared deceased at the scene. The death is being investigated by the major crimes detectives, but early indication is that the death is not suspicious. So there you go. That is the only statement I have seen that depicts anything about like any type of facts that have come out from some sort of agency. It's sad. It is. I thought the photos that she released about a month ago saying she was in hospital and kidney failure or whatever, I really thought that might have sprung people into action to help her. But it seems like everyone was sort of like, "Oh, she'll be fine," and then just let her go back to her farm on her own. So, like, it seems like she was obviously mostly on her own. I don't know if that's a good thing, a bad thing. I don't know if that's how she lived her life, but seems like maybe not the greatest idea to put someone that's obviously struggling mentally into an isolated environment that's quite far, 80 kilometers north of Perth, and she lived on this farm out there. Probably very tranquil, very beautiful, but also very isolated, which is a double-edged sword. Great for privacy, great for being left alone. Also bad because you get left alone. So I don't really know what to tell you all except for it's a really sad ending to one of the most prolific stories I think has been in the media over the last like what 10, 15 years. And that was the downfall of her abuser plus some royal family members. And first we had the death of Jeffrey Epstein while he was in custody. And I really thought as well that the death of Jeffrey and Maxwell being in jail might have brought some comfort to her life, but I don't know. Maybe you just can never escape after you've been through something like that. Maybe it just doesn't matter what happens. Maybe there just is no happily ever after. Maybe it's just how it is. I don't know, but yeah, it just feels like to me that you sort of put some of the evidence together, and it just feels like she still wasn't okay. And I'm not saying if that is ever a possibility with like for someone like that, but it almost seemed like for a while that she was going to be fine. She had her kids and had a husband that she loved, but I wonder if the downfall of her marriage and the separation of her children as well, maybe just it was a battle too far for her. I don't know what that would be like. I'd imagine that'd be pretty torturous for someone who like went through all that and then would have to be separated from her children. Maybe her children to her are sort of like the only thing in this world that she could truly say are hers. Do you know what I mean? Like she doesn't have very much. Sure, she's rich or whatever. She got a big settlement. Money doesn't buy happiness. We all know that. Um, but those children were like the one thing that she put on this earth that were for her. So to be forcibly separated from them for a long period of time is what I've heard. Um, in that post after she posted that photo, she said, "I just want to see my babies one more time." I don't know if she ever got the chance. I'm not sure, but I hope they did because now their mum is gone. And I would say this: if the husband, ex-husband, whatever you want to call yourself, is out there with those children, I will say this: once someone is gone, you can never go back. It doesn't matter what issues are, it doesn't matter whatever, you can never get that back. So she can't be resurrected from the dead. You can't go visit mum in 10 years' time when everything seems to be okay again. These are why these court battles over custody and that, they're so dangerous, because you just never know how far it would take to push someone over the edge. And I'm not saying anyone's in the wrong here. Just they're very they're just very explosive. Everyone's got strong feelings. There's everyone thinks they're right. It just seems to be the people that end up suffering are the children. So they'll never get to spend any more time with their mum, ever. Doesn't matter how old they get. It'll just be them. And for someone who lives such a tortured life, I think that's a pretty sad ending. It's very, very sad. So it's just like, what is 2025 doing to us? Like, it's like there's so many different bad things that have happened since January. We've had planes fall out of the sky. Virginia Giuffre is dead now. There's been other people that have died. The Pope died, man. What the hell? Catholics are in shambles. He died on Easter Sunday, man. What the hell? That's like messaging there. And he ain't gonna resurrect. He's gone. We're gonna have to celebrate him in a couple of days at his funeral, but he ain't coming back either. SP Mama says, yeah, it's also sad. I agree. I think it's just, I don't know. Hey, Alicia, how are you, my friend? Sad, sending love to her family and friends. Yeah, I agree. I think there was a statement that came out when she posted that photo. It was from her family in the US, and they were basically saying, "Oh, we wish we could get there in time, and we want to help her, but she's so far away in WA." I don't know. I'm not sure, guys. Yeah, rip Virginia. It's sad. I mean, I've seen a lot of different opinions today about her too. Some people are like, "Oh, she's like some crazy bitch or whatever." No, man. Like, I wanna know who goes through that and doesn't end up a little, like, a little damaged. You do that. You go through what she did, and then you tell me how you act. Because 'cause I'm gonna say people might say that about you too. So, judge not, judge not. Don't judge people like that. SPMR says, "But for us, it's Sabbath night, a great night to live and have joy when the world is crazy around us." There you go. I don't know too much. I'm not Jewish, so I don't know too much about the traditions and things like that. I do know about the Friday night thing. That's one of your big, family things. Like, you guys often have your family on a Friday night. You all share a meal on a Friday evening, which I think is a lovely tradition. I think that's a great thing. I think everyone should do that. It sort of amplifies the whole family aspect, that family is forever, and that you share things together like meals and talking and rituals or whatever. I love it. I love that idea. I know why it survived thousands of years, because it's great. Oh, it's biblical. Oh, what's the Friday night thing called where they have the thing for Jewish people? I can't remember. I'm not Jewish, but I love that thing. I think it's great. We have a big Jewish community here, though, not too far from where Ping lives. Like, our supermarkets here, they all sell like kosher food and stuff. I can't say I've ever tried any, but they do sell it. But if you go like a little bit further away, like 10 minutes away, they don't sell it because there's no Jewish people there. So the area I live in is got a really high population for this sort of Melbourne. So I remember, I think I've told this story before. When I first moved to Melbourne, I lived in Elstonwick. It was like the first suburb I ever lived in Melbourne. And I got off the train from Sydney. I came from Sydney, and I got off the train at Elstonwick, and I was looking around, and I was like, "The hell is going on here?" and there was, like, like the Orthodox men with, like, the beards and the hats and the dress, like, how they dress, and I was like, "It's like a movie, like, out of something I've seen from America," like, because I grew up in Sydney, and Sydney doesn't they do have a Jewish population, but it's not where I grew up, and then I came to Melbourne, and it's, like, really big here. So yeah, we have, like, Jewish bakeries and stuff down here, so it's cool. They make the best, bagels. Bagels are not a big thing in Australia, but if you go to the Jewish bakeries down here, they're pretty good. Yeah, Jews in Australia, yes, we have a big Jewish, population, especially, like, here where I live. There's a synagogue, and they have the schools, Orthodox schools, and you see the men walking down the street every Saturday going to something on a Saturday, a lecture, or, something that men go to, I don't know. Pretty cool. SP Mom said, "We just did a 5-paragraph essay for my 6th grader about interesting animals and ecosystem about Jews." Yeah, that's right. You should have done a, report on that. People would have been stunned. They'd be like, "Oh my god, in Australia? Really? Not a colony of great white sharks, just Jewish people." Yeah, that's it. Gayla says, "We have some here. I've seen them, but I don't know where about." Yeah, it was like a culture shock for me when I first moved here, for real. All right. I don't know why we got sidetracked, but okay. Um, I don't really have a ton more to talk about Virginia, though. I wish I had something else to give you, but the information coming out is pretty just very vague, and I mean, it will be, if you don't understand about Australian reporting. Australian reporting for when people die via the S word, the amount of reporting that we have today on Virginia is more than I've ever seen, because the media down here don't report them. It's sort of like a rule. Anyone who dies via that, they don't really mention it. They don't say the word. The only reason it's being reported right now, and the only reason we even got a statement from WA ambulance, is because of who she is. If it was anyone else, you would never hear of it. I promise. There's people that die like that every single day in every city in Australia, and it never makes the papers because they've got some sort of code of ethics that they just don't report on it. And it's about 10 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, there started to be a lot of copycat. So when they would post about it, they were seeing that the numbers would go up. Like, I'm not talking about like 1,000 people or anything, but say their average a day is like one person, I don't know, in every city. But they'd post an article about that person that died, and for like the next few days, their average would go up by like 3 times. So they'd have 3 every day, not 1 every day. And then they started relating that the reporting was actually causing ideation in other people to actually go and commit it. So they backed off on a lot of the reporting here. So the fact that you're even getting anything here is like a breaking of rules almost in Australia, and it's literally only because of who she is. If it was anyone else, they just wouldn't even do it. Or if they do, they don't mention it. And then at the bottom of the article, they put all like the helpline and, if you're having trouble, call this number, that type of thing. So that's all we ever get. Here, I'm going to take you out to the ABC News so I can drink. Hold on.
Video contains content that may be confronting.
One of the women who accused Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein of sexual abuse has died, aged 41. Virginia Giuffre's family has released a statement confirming her death at a West Australian property last night. They described her as a fierce warrior in the fight against sexual abuse and sex trafficking. Giuffre was one of the most vocal accusers of Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, alleging she was trafficked by them to the Duke of York when she was 17 years old. Prince Andrew has strenuously denied the accusation. If you or someone you know is experiencing distress, please contact Life.
There you go. There's the numbers every time. They do this every time, so you get the little number at the end, and that's some good advice. If for some reason, not that you have any sort of relation to Virginia or anything, but if this type of story is triggering to you and causes you some sort of distress, makes your ideation go through the roof, intrusive thoughts, that type of thing, call the number first before you do anything else. Call the number, see if they can walk you back off that, idea, and hang around with us. We're gonna have a fun Friday night, even though it's a very sad story. We're gonna have a bit of fun here later, so hang out with us. Don't do that. Yeah, let's see. Hey Tanya, how are you? This is heart-wrenching that Virginia got to this point. Yeah, I'm about the same age as Virginia, so she's a little like a touch older than me by like about 5 months. But we're about the same age. We were born, I think, the same year. Hold on, I'll double check. I think it is the same year. She's basically grew up in the same period I did. Let's check out Wikipedia. When was she born? Okay. Oh, that's interesting. She's actually born in the same month as me, but the year before. Okay, she's about a year older than me, but we're born very close together. The one thing I can tell you, getting through life into my 40s, and I've lived a pretty bad life too. Like people on this channel know, I grew up in state homes and foster care and all sorts of crazy stuff that happened. Things I don't really want to talk about, but I can relate in some ways how hard that battle is to find normality. It's taken me years, years. If you knew Ping when I was in my 20s, even in my teen years, I'm not the person I am today. The person I am today is so different from that person. I'm sure if people that knew me back then met me today, they'd be shocked at who I am. I just not the same guy. I used to be very angry at the world, upset that the life gave me that hand. I was like, what did I ever do? And it took me years to try and overcome that mentality. Still not there. I still have those days where I think everyone's out to get me, and the world is against me, but it's not as every day as it used to be. I lived like 1% of what she did, and I can't imagine her internal thoughts day in and day out, and then to go through these major life events. It must have been soul destroying. It must have been. So I feel very, I just very sympathetic to her plight. Photo evidence in Prince Andrew. Yes, we could show you that if you want. Hey, Vamp, Little Flyer. Is that how you pronounce it? I hope I'm saying it right. I think Virginia's separation and the restraining order her husband got had a lot to do with this. Yeah, I think you're right. I think, like I said before, you maybe missed it from earlier, but I think separation from her children, and possibly her marriage, I think she could have survived the breakdown of the marriage eventually, but it was the separation from the children, I think. For a woman who's had sort of nothing her entire life and had everything sort of either given to her or taken away or abused, those children were like her they were her only thing, I think. And, they were the one, I reckon she probably saw those children as the one good thing other than the court case that she's ever done. And to not be able to see them, to not be able to contact them, I probably would have been devastating. So it's family court for you. It tears people apart, it damages people, and for various reasons. I'm not saying didn't do bad things either. Apparently, she broke AVOs and things like that, which, you know, what are you supposed to do with that information? It is a crime, but it's probably out of love. I don't know. I don't have the details, but I just think she wanted to see her kids. Woman of Steel said, "I never found normalcy within my own family. It's very uncomfortable." Yeah, I can tell you that it's like I don't think I've ever found it fully. I think even today I struggle with it. I think when you grow up in such a broken way of living when you're young, it really affects the way you are when you're older. Especially because when you're that sort of age, the building blocks to life sort of like, you go to school and then you make friends, and then you sort of graduate, and then you sort of get a job or a trade or go to university, and you drive a car. All those type of things you sort of don't do. So I didn't do any of those things when I was younger. I never graduated high school. I never learned to drive a car when I was a teenager. I didn't do any of those things. It wasn't until I was older that I could do any of that. And it really robs you of those developmental steps. So I don't know what she went through, but she probably missed a bunch as well. Yeah. So I don't have too much more on this, and I know everyone wants me to keep talking about it, but there's not that much more information, and I don't like boring people. I don't want to be like Sky News, where I just read the same statement every 2 minutes for like the next 4.5 hours, and everyone's like, "Yeah, I think I've seen this program before." No, I don't. I don't really want to do that to you. Let me check here. I just want to check a different source and see if they have anything interesting. Yeah. They say Virginia's family has told a Sky News US partner network, NBC, that she has, done. I can't say it will get taken off YouTube, but you know what the word is. They say in the statement that she had died in Perth, where she'd been living for several years. And they say it is with utterly broken hearts that we announced that Virginia had passed away last night at her farm in Western Australia. She lost her life to that word we're not allowed to say after being a lifelong victim of SA and ST. Virginia was a fierce warrior in the fight against SA and ST, and she was the light that lifted so many survivors. In the end, the toll of the abuse is so heavy that it became unbearable for Virginia to handle its weight. I don't know if it's only that. I think there's other things that also affected her, but hey, I'll take it from the family. They're the ones who knew her. Police said emergency services received reports of an unresponsive woman at the property, and they just said it's being investigated, but they don't believe there is a suspicious angle to any of it. So they do this. It's pretty common. Anytime someone dies and they're under 50, they have to do some sort of at least a small investigation to make sure, something's not off. Especially a woman like this, you could think she probably has enemies all over the world. There's probably people out there that would pay to have her killed. Guarantee it. I would bet money on it. So they have to sort of take it seriously and investigate it. Gayla says start over every hour. I should, right? Is that what I should do with the channel? We'll do live shows, and then at the hour I'll just start again. I'll make a script and we'll just go from the beginning. No, I don't want to do that to you. That's boring as hell. Heartbreaking. I agree. Let's give you some other updates, and then I'll keep checking. If we keep getting more different information, I'll tell it to you. By the way, if you watch the NFL draft today, the big sort of news out of that was Shedeur Sanders. His father is Deion Sanders, the famous cornerback or defensive back who played for San Francisco, Atlanta, a bunch of other places, and he was supposed to sort of be like a first-round pick, and he has not been picked for the first 2 days of the NFL draft. So he sort of slid down the draft board, and no teams want him. Many teams have passed over him several times, including teams that want a quarterback. So that's the big story out of the NFL earlier today. By the way, this story came out a couple of last night, and I wanted to show it to you. I hope we don't get absolutely blitzed for showing you this, but this is some of the most shocking footage I've seen in Melbourne in a while. Check this out. And I'm sorry I have to use the Daily Mail. We're not allowed to use like private news companies like the Herald, the Age, anything with a paywall, because circumventing that, even with a paid subscription, is against their terms of service. And I often have writers from those agencies who visit my channel, and I don't want to piss them off. So they're saying here, a early morning run became a gruesome nightmare after a man was allegedly stabbed while jogging past a pizza shop Victoria police are investigating the grisly attack on Spring Street in Reservoir, northern Melbourne, just before 8 a.m. yesterday. It is believed the runner, aged 24, was stabbed in the abdomen by an unknown male as he jogged in the area following an Anzac Day dawn service. Now, there is CCTV, and I don't know how much I can show you without YouTube 18 plussing my stream. So I will just show you this. It's not graphic. He was stabbed. He ran to this service station and he's like screaming out, like, help, I need some help. Like, hey, someone stabbed me. And the guy comes out and he's sort of like, what do you mean someone stabbed you? And he lifts his shirt and there is just blood gushing out from his stomach, all over his legs, all over the floor. And this guy looks like he's bleeding out. Like, there is just, I've never seen it. It looks like a horror movie. It's insane. I wish I could show you the video, but we'll get in trouble. They're saying they don't know who did this, and he's saying he doesn't have any enemies. He has no reason why someone would attack him while jogging. Some random person just decided to attack him while he was going on his morning jog. I don't know why someone would do that, but oh well, sorry, I didn't realize that was there. You got a bit. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I'll do that. They said I just saw him coming, and he was coming screaming here, saying, "I got stabbed! I got stabbed! I got stabbed!" I gave him a towel and paper towel to hold it, asked him to sit down, and he finally sat down. Then the bleeding stopped a little bit. I've seen that footage, and I've seen when he actually finally sits down. I don't think it stopped. The blood just kept going in this giant pool. I don't think it slowed down at all. You know what happened though? A police finally turn up, an ambulance finally turns up to get him, and this legend walked to the ambulance about 100 meters away. Walked. The dude just walked. He's lost blood all over the bloody concrete. He looks red, like there's red everywhere. And he walked into the ambulance. They didn't carry him. They didn't put him on a gurney. He literally walked with it. So crazy. So crazy story. Hey, how are you? What are you talking about? We're talking about a stabbing in Melbourne. What are you talking about? Tell us what you're talking about, and then we'll tell you if we're talking about the same thing. Otherwise, we can't play this game. It doesn't work that way. Put the link in the chat so we can look ourselves. Okay, I will. Yeah, actually, yeah, that's a good idea. We could do that. Yeah, you guys can have a look at the footage on the link I posted in the chat. I can't play it, unfortunately, due to YouTube's rules about graphic violence. And I'll tell you an interesting story. I showed a photo from a boxing match. So Tim Tszyu, an Australian boxer, got a cut on his head in a fight last year. I showed the photo on my stream, and I got this long email from YouTube saying, "You are like what they say, like you are perpetrating violent content on YouTube, and for that, we're gonna take away your live stream. We're gonna delete it from YouTube." And I was like, they showed this on national TV. It was on ESPN. Like, I don't think like it's dangerous to have this on YouTube. And they're like, no, we can't allow violent content on our platform, not even from a boxing match. So our live stream got deleted because I showed a photo, literally just one photo, not a video clip, just of his face after he got elbowed in the head. And that's why I can't show you the video that I just talked about. But it's in the chat. Go watch it. Come back. Tell me what you think. It's some of the most harrowing footage I think I've seen in a while. And I want to know why they don't have any footage of when he actually got stabbed. Like, who actually did that to him? That's what I would like to know. Yeah, I could probably... Is this one... Oh, no, that's not blurred either. I was hoping to show you a different one, but no, it's not. It's not blurred. Apparently, they're showing that on national TV. So it was down in Spring Street in Reservoir in Melbourne. I don't know why someone would do that to him. especially on Anzac Day, which was yesterday. Someone just felt the need to go out and stab someone, I guess. So yeah, that's a weird story out of Australia that I thought I might want to share with you guys very briefly. I mean, we can keep talking about Virginia if you want. I just don't have anything new to add other than what we talked about for about half an hour. I mean, we can talk about Jeffrey Epstein if you want. I mean, I know quite a lot about that trial. Yeah, actually, let's do that. Here's that photo. So someone asked me to post it before and show everyone. There's that photo. I think this is like the photo everyone would have seen when she's a young girl. And obviously, this is Prince Andrew right here in the background. That's Maxwell in jail now, enjoying her jail, apparently, very much so. Or from what I've read, apparently she's filing lawsuits because the jail is apparently not servicing her needs or something. And she keeps filing all these like motions in court saying, oh, they won't give me whatever. Yeah, it's a jail, dumbass. It's not supposed to give you anything. You're lucky they don't give you the freaking lethal injection. Like, just be happy you're alive. Don't worry about the everything else. You know, you're this is America. They could have put you on one of those death penalty states and could have given you to the spicy injection. I know there's a lot of people who probably think that's probably what should have happened to her. Possibly she was very complicit in the offending of Epstein. So the one thing I've never understood about her is why did she pine so much over Epstein? Like, I never understood that. She came from a pretty wealthy background. Her connections to the certain things were pretty good anyway. So she had connections to royals and other famous people or rich people. I never understood her fascination with him. Or the only thing I can think of is that she liked the control over other women or young girls. That's the only thing I can think of, is that's how she sort of got her kicks in life, was by controlling younger females. It's about the only thing I can ever come up with. Only 11 likes and 126 in chat. Yeah, thanks for that. No, it's okay. You don't have to if you don't want to. That's okay. That's all right. I'd rather you just listen and we talk about stuff. Let's see here. So yeah, that's that famous photo. There's a few people around the world. Now, I'm not suggesting it. I'm just telling you what I've read, that say this photo is a Photoshop, that she was somehow Photoshopped into this photo. And I've seen a bunch of things where they're like, you can see the artifacts on Andrew's hand and how his hand is not a complete whatever. There's pixels here and there. And I was like, this photo was taken before we had phone cameras and things like that have a much better resolution. It's not like today where you take a photo on your phone and so if there's any artifacting or whatever, it's a very old type photo. Maxwell is a terrible person. Yeah, she is. I think that while Epstein's offending was like horrific, preying on young girls, it's not unheard of, right? We read stories every day on this channel of men, women, a lot of women lately are victimizing young people. But what she did to enable the victimization is almost worse, because she trapped these young girls in a sense of false security and basically used them like a conveyor into Epstein's world. So she acted like basically like the funnel to Epstein. And that is irrehensible, really. It's like it's almost worse, I think. Like, we read these type of stories about dirty old men who victimize young girls, or female teachers who victimize young boys or whatever. But not often we hear stuff about a woman who literally, her entire thing in life is to find victims for some rich guy. It's almost like it was an obsession for her. Laurie. Hey, Laurie. Good to have you here. Hey, this channel, we are a free opinion channel. I don't care what side of the argument you're on. I just want to have a discussion. I don't care if you think Epstein was killed in jail. I don't care if you think he wasn't. I don't care if you think she's innocent. Whatever. Just leave your comment. We'll talk about it. Laurie said Epstein didn't kill himself, neither did she. God sees, and you can't escape the consequences of your evil deeds. I will say that his one is very suspicious, right? Just like guards that just fell asleep or whatever, or didn't go on their rounds with a guy that was a known sort of in a vulnerable place. And they were just like, yeah, he's fine. Let's just not check on him for like 8 hours. Yeah, there are some inconsistencies in his death. I will give you that 100%. There are some odd things that happened that night. I don't know what that means, Jonna, but okay, I agree with you. I just think it's strange that a grown woman would spend her life trying to please a man that, like, they're in this sort of like quasi relationship that wasn't a relationship, but was a relationship that wasn't. It was so strange. And just to feed young girls to him and his rich friends, like she's a pimp. I think in court someone called her a pimp. That's basically what she was. Some sort of like PDF file pimp. Yeah, she's a nasty person. I hope she's enjoying jail. Hey Maxwell, have fun in there. Don't worry about your complaints. We're all listening, I promise. We're taking them very seriously. We will get to them in 95 years. We'll get there, okay? We'll speak to you then. Tricky. I think, yeah, she's a horrible person. Yeah, let's head over here. Let's see. Let me just double check there's any news sources. AFR did something. Pedestrian TV. Do they have anything here for us? So Virginia, yeah, we all know these details. Prince Andrew. I know probably all of you have watched the Prince Andrew interview. For a guy who had amazing schooling, all that can be offered in life, you know, amazing opportunities, education, surrounded by very smart people. I've never seen someone crash and burn in an interview so hard that it just basically imploded their life forever. That interview is so dumb. The things he says in that interview, like no one would ever believe any of it. Oh, I don't sweat. I don't have sweat glands and stuff. Like, what kind of alien do you think you are? Please tell us more about this. I'd like to subscribe to your newsletter. It says here, yeah, no new details really. Just basically, there he is. Hello. You can imagine that's the kind of voice he uses, right? Hello, I'm Andrew, Prince Andrew. Yeah, so they're just saying here that her children, she's survived by her children. I don't want to give out their names. I think that's wrong. The Duke of York, yeah. Yeah, they're saying it was her. So they're saying here it was when she held her newborn daughter in her arms that Virginia realized she had to fight back against those who had abused her and so many others. There are no words that can express the grave loss we feel today with the passing of our sweet Virginia. She was heroic and will always be remembered for her incredible courage and loving spirit. Yeah, I think she will be remembered. I do agree. I think she's basically one of the people that brought this to the mainstream. I think by except for the other ones that were never named, there was a few girls that did testify, but they were never publicly named. There's a couple that ended up revealing their names later on. But I think she's one of the main ones. She really brought it into the so everyone knew about it. Before then, it was sort of like a niche topic that if you're into true crime and you would have known about it. But if you were just like some person walking down the street, you probably would have no idea. But I think Virginia actually made this a much bigger discussion than what it previously was. Jonas says, my mistake. I saw that interview when it happened and was in shock how bad he was. Yeah, you would think, like, did no one coach him? Did no one sit him down and say, right, Andrew, listen here. All you have to do is not say dumb things. Can you do that for 45 minutes? All you have to do is say how much you're not involved, you don't know her, and that you apologize for any whatever. Like, there's obviously some PR statement he could have read. Instead, he just like walked in as if no one had talked to him about it and just rambled for like an hour and a half or whatever it was. It's crazy. I've never seen a royal do that. Gayla says he would have had lawyers. Anyone? You don't think the royal family have like a team of media people that sit there and write statements and fact check things and like work out loopholes for certain stuff and timing and timelines, and he has all that type of like resources, and he walked into the meeting and just went, "Oh yeah, I don't sweat from me hands because I don't have sweat glands." He's a very strange guy, and that photo, whether you believe it to be real or not, it is damning if you do believe it to be real. Marlene says he thought the interview went well. I know he's like, yes, I think I've done a great job, and everyone just went, I don't think so. I think this is a bad idea. Laurie says Prince Andrew is a smug narcissist. Body language expert said he looks guilty as sin. Yeah, and I mean, some of the information that Virginia talked about from that night is so disturbing. Like, you think he said things like, what did he say? He said, "You look like my daughters." Ew. Like, who does that? Who walks up to a girl that you're about to sleep with, even if she is underage, and goes, "You look like my daughters"? What kind of ancestral freaky stuff is that? I think we should all listen to Kendrick Lamar. Those freaky ass people got to stay themselves inside. Got to be put on a watch list. That's what has to happen. Sicko, yeah. It is very sad. I mean, 41 years old. It's not even that old these days. 41 is like your 30s about 20 years ago. 41's like the new 30 type thing. She's still young. She had a long life ahead of her with her children and just gone. All that money, you think she got all that in the settlement, and she bought that beautiful property in WA and still couldn't find a place of semi-balance in her life where she could feel content, happy, repair any of maybe you can never repair the damage, but it's awful. All right, let's go back. Actually, can we? I don't know if we can play it. Who did the Andrew one? It was ITV, BBC. I can't remember who did the Prince Andrew document interview. Maybe you guys remember, but I don't. Good work, my neighbors. Thanks for dropping stuff. All right. Let me see if I can grab that. Give me 1 second. Sorry, it'll go black. I have to switch to another panel. Hold on. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to get whacked for this, but I can show a little tiny bit of it, and we'll see if the BBC News are nice people, or I'm going to get an email saying you should turn that off. We'll see. I just want to watch like the first couple of minutes. Let's go here. What's the good bits that everyone wants us to watch? Let's see if someone puts a timer in the comments so we can go straight there. All right. Someone says this is
to take.
Yeah, let's go back here a little bit. So only if the legal advice tells you that you should testify and tell the truth, that's what you do? I mean, I guess that's what we said he should do before, but he seemed very nervous when they were talking about going to court and testifying or, giving any evidence. He was like, my throat's sort of drying up here. I can't talk anymore about this subject. Hey, Peterson, last name Peterson, how are you? So interesting. A few weeks ago, she announced that the body of Jeffrey Epstein that died, his body was dug up and his face was compared to an old photo which showed the ears didn't match. I saw something like that on Twitter, or whatever they call it now, X. where they said that the internal part of the ear or something wasn't the same shape or something, and that people were saying it's a dummy person, or I think the theory was it was someone related to a president that had a brother of a president who had died around the same time, and that they had switched the body. Could they have done? I don't know. There's a lot of powerful people in the world. Possibly. Jonna says, so guilty. He's such a liar. Anytime someone stumbles like that, even in an interview, this is what police would focus on. When police do interviews with criminals, they're looking for this type of behavior. And I know it's very nerve-wracking, but he's probably done interviews his entire life on the BBC, for his mum and his brother and a bunch of other royals. They're media trained. So to have someone not react like normally, like he's doing in this interview, authorities would zero in on that pretty quickly. They often like to look at people, the way they speak. Is it clear? Are they recalling a actual memory, or are they trying to force a statement to you? And when people stutter like that, it's because they're not telling like something that is true, or what happened to them recently, or something they're recalling from their brain. They're trying to keep up and then trying to fill in the blanks. And that's like, inserting lies or trying to remember lies that happened in the past and things like that. So the way he speaks in this interview, I think is very damning. It's someone who came into this interview with proper intentions. They want to actually tell the truth. And hey, yeah, I met her. She was at a party or something. Like, there are reasonable excuses that he could have come up with, and yet he was so convoluted in everything he said, and none of it really made any, proper sense. So, royals always stutter. Hey LD, how are you? Rip little Virginia Roberts. Right, I agree. It's awful. Yeah, he's not a good. No wonder they always were like, just keep him over here. Like, don't bring him onto the balcony with the other royals. He can't come out with us. Have you seen him speak in the BBC interview? No, like, he's not worth putting in front of the cameras. Just stay behind your brother. Stay behind your king. I mean, your brother who is king. Stay behind him. Don't come over here. That makes me really question her death. If in Australia, I don't know if you could get to the highest levels here. It doesn't work quite the same way as in the USA. In the USA, I'm not saying that it's corrupt or anything, but the way everything is controlled on different levels. So in the US, you have a sheriff, you have a cop, and then you have like state authorities and federal, and especially with prisons and things like that. There's probably room to move, especially within a prison. But in WA, it's one of the most closed off states in Australia. Like, their borders are so tough. They often, like, their police force is one level. They do report to the AFP, which is the level above, but that's like the national police, sort of like the FBI. But their police force is just one unit throughout the whole of WA. There's different stations or whatever, but they just run the whole thing. I think if there was some evidence to suggest that they'll find it, they would find it. Especially, this she's got to have cameras, right? You would have to think so. If I was her, I would be literally paranoid. I would have cameras. Like, I'd have cameras every 10 feet of my house. I'd be like, they're gonna get me one day. They're going to come and get me. One day when I least expect it, they're gonna break into my home and shoot me or something. So I'd have like cameras everywhere, and I would be surprised if she didn't. So maybe we'll find out. Rachel said he definitely talks in circles. I think he's lying about a lot of things. I'm not a behavioral analyst, like a person who does like behavioral analysis, but I've watched enough of it and done enough trials and things like that, and interviews and police interviews and stuff like that, where it starts to become very easy to pick up when people are lying. he just doesn't tell the truth about anything. You can tell that he's constantly trying to sort of slot what he's saying into what he's already said in the past and what are known facts. So things that are public knowledge, he's trying to think and then slot in what these new information in the interview and where it goes on that timeline. And that's why he takes so long to recall. When people recall the truth, it's like that. They always tell the same thing. It may be said slightly differently. So they may be like, "Oh, yesterday I went to the shops." And then you ask them the next day, "Hey, what did you do yesterday?" And they went, "Well, in the morning I went to the shops." Yeah, it's the same information, but it's presented slightly differently, but it's still the truth. Do you know what I mean? When people lie, that's not the way they do it, and the recall isn't the same. When you're telling the truth, it's just instant because you already lived it, you already know it. It's a memory in your head. So the recall is very quick. When someone is lying, the recall takes a lot longer because there's more parts of what you have to think about, so people don't know you're lying. And you see that a lot in this particular interview. All right, we'll play a little bit more. Be able to answer that question. You're the guy who knew him. You're the guy who used to lend him property so he could come to the UK and stay at, your family's estate and whatever. But you're not the one to answer the question, are you? Okay, that sounds like a real interesting way of putting that. Interesting when he says, when you heard of Epstein's death, what did you think? He's like, shocked. Of course I was. I think there were some other answers you could have had that would have fit there better. LD says the effects of even emotional and psychological abuse last for life. Add in physical abuse with terror to that, and it messes with the mind for life. Enduring the pain surfaces in intense stress. Well, I'm guessing it would be some sort of like PTSD. It would be like a very strong case of like PTSD trauma, which some people can deal with it. Some people can get therapy and help, and I don't think it ever fully goes away, but they find ways of managing it. I don't. I wouldn't know for Virginia what that would be, or if it was even possible. I have no idea, but you have to admit that her life was not one that you would trade for. For people who had any other life, I don't think you would trade for her life, would you? Is there anyone that would be like, sure, I'd like to do that. I'd like to be pimped out to rich men all over the world. And then I'd like to be dumped when I'm like, get out of it in 2002. And then I'd like to wait 10 years and then be testifying in New York in front of the world's media about what these men did to me and divulge my most private secrets and trauma to everyone. Yeah, I don't think anyone wants to really do that. I don't think I'd like to do that. Must have been one of the most scary experiences of her life to have to open up and divulge that information, even though a lot of it was protected. Still, pretty. It'd just probably be like reliving it all over again. Yeah. Look, I don't have too much more to add about Virginia, to be honest. I can sit here and talk about it all night with you, but yeah, I think everyone. That's weird. Sky News Breakfast in the UK is saying world leaders have arrived in Rome ahead of the Pope's funeral this weekend. And then they're like, oh, and Virginia Giuffre has died. And I was like, well, sure, the Pope is pretty important, but I think Virginia's case is pretty important too. They just didn't sound like they cared. They were just like, oh yeah, she died. Who cares? Let's see. What else do we have? About 9:50 DM. Yeah, we read that. Apparently, this was the last photo that she ever took with her brothers, her brother Danny, and this was the last photo that he ever had with her. It's one I'm sure that he will treasure for the rest of his life. There's that photo that we all saw from a month ago, 6 weeks ago, something like that. They said family acquaintances were spotted earlier on Saturday visiting the family home. And they got cake. Okay, cake is always good. They say a man wearing a white t-shirt and black pants exited the vehicle and retrieved a stack of cake boxes, which he carried into the home. Okay. The woman wearing a dark hoodie also entered the family home. Their descriptiveness on on the Daily Mail is second to none. They are very detail orientated. They say her family confirmed her death in a statement, writing she had lost her life to the S word after grappling with what happened to her in her teens. Yeah. Her husband Robert. Oh, okay. So apparently her husband's ute showed up to the property at some point. That's interesting. Yeah. So in that interview we watched with Prince Andrew, they were saying Andrew repeatedly denied her allegations and has said he can't recall ever meeting her. Although a photograph of them together in a London townhouse, his arm around her bare midriff, was included in the lawsuit against him. He's like, yes, I can't remember ever meeting this girl. We've got a photo of it. Oh, I wasn't there that night. That's not me. That's my lookalike, Ben. We hire him in case assassins want to kill me. So that must be Ben. That's not me. I was never there. He could have said that, and people probably would have believed it way more than his excuse of whatever it was. He should have said, that's my stunt double. We hired him to have plastic surgery to look exactly like me. Every royal has a stunt double, in case of assassination. We keep them in a cage at the palace. I reckon people would have believed that way more than what he said. Woman of Steel said, Woman of Steel, nope, yeah. LD, she was brave and broken, losing her children to a restraining order possibly was the last straw, as our children are what give broken people purpose. Yeah, I said that earlier in the stream that you could tell by her post around when she posted that photo of her, like, very bruised. I think we all figured out it's a fake photo now. She said in that follow-up that she just wanted to see her children one last time. And I think it's just a cry for help. She just wanted to deal with whatever was going on in that AVO, that separation, but she just wanted to be near her children. And I don't think you could begrudge a mother wanting to be near their kids. So, who's joking? I didn't joke about anything. That's not a joke. It's real. They could have done that. Andrew could have done that, and everyone would have believed it way more than what he actually said. It's not a joke. I'm being serious. He could have said that, and I guarantee you, the world probably would have been more accepting of that theory than whatever he said. Like, oh, I don't remember meeting this girl and sleeping with her in a townhouse. I think you do, because if it's true what the testifying of Virginia is, that you said, you look like my daughter or daughters. That is one of the most disturbing things I've ever heard. You look like my daughters. I don't know what man goes around going, yes, what I'd like to do is I'd like to find women, especially young ones, that look like my teen daughters. That's what I like to do in life, as a dirty old man. I like to go around finding young girls that look like my daughters. It's one of the most creepiest statements I've ever heard. She really didn't. Yeah. Let's see. Photograph showed her. Yeah. Look, that's about it, I think, guys. I don't think there's a lot more to go on this at the moment. And being in Australian media, the chance of them actually giving us any more information is probably pretty thin, especially with the way that they're saying that she died. They just don't report on stuff like this unless there's a coroner, like what do they call it, like a coronial inquest. If we get a coronial inquest, you would learn more. Except that a lot of times when they have a coronial inquest into someone who has done this via their own hand, they lock it. So they'll lock the results of the coronial inquest. And that means no one will get a copy of it outside of the court. This has happened a few times in Australia, especially with people who they say have done that. And they say it's not in the public's interest to be able to release those records to the public due to the nature of the death. And the one person I can think of to give you an example is Jock, I can't remember his last name, Zaffarillo. Jock Zaffarillo, he was on MasterChef Australia, and he died a couple of years ago. There is some suggestion. I'm not saying I'm saying it. I've just read online that there is some suggestion that they locked his inquest report because he died either accidentally or he took his, own life. But because his coronial inquest is locked, no one can read it. And I would suggest that this would probably happen in Virginia's case too. Due to the prior reporting and things like that, they're probably going to lock it. Unfortunately. I mean, fortunately and fortunately. Unfortunately and fortunately, they probably are going to lock it because it's not in the public interest. All her lies caught up with her. I know there's some people on the other side. I am not the type of channel that'll bash people down for having an opposite opinion. You are welcome to be here and share what you think. I don't have rules. I don't have baked in theories that I want to spread to people and be like, you must think like I do. It's not how we run this channel. We just let people say what they want to say. We'll read it out. That's fine. Like, I'm not here to change your opinion on anything. Yeah, I mean, I know there's some people who believe that she faked that photo. I mean, I don't know how you do it, but there are some people out there that believe that the lawsuit was frivolous. I can't say I know anything about it, but I know there are some people who believe that. No such thing in the US. Well, she's not in the US. She's in Western Australia, so there is there. Yeah, so we probably won't see a ton more about it. Yeah, let's see. Unless it's racist. Yeah. Like, we're not going to sit here and let people be like, hey, I think the Ku Klux Klan is actually a community group. No, like, we can't do that. That's not a thing we can do. Let's see. Hey, Wendy. Good to see you. Glad to have you. Epstein held blackmail over Prince Andrew in Virginia. Would likely have known that, but Prince Andrew is deeply closeted. Okay. Wouldn't be the first time I've heard of a royal being closeted. It's not the first time I've heard that rumor about someone in the royal family. So I appreciate it, though. I appreciate it. I can't say I've ever heard that particular the way you phrased it, but sure, I appreciate your contribution. Let's see. How long is it locked for? Forever. There is no way to get it unlocked. A coroner in Australia is the ultimate authority. So in Australia, there's various different courts. There's a magistrate court, a county court, Supreme Court, and the High Court. But then you also have a coroner's court, and a coroner is basically a court that investigates death. So it's sort of like a medical examiner in the UK, in the USA, sorta. But it's more like a court where they have hearings to find the truth. So oftentimes when a death is unexplained or underexplained, they may hold a coronial inquest. And at this inquest, they will have witnesses, police, ambulance people, friends or whatever, and they will each give their testimony. And it is up to the coronial, the coroner, to give their findings at the end. And these findings are either released to the public, they can have recommendations in it, law changes, all different things. They can also have charges recommended in them. So if, say, someone was murdered, but they don't know who killed them, but during the inquest, they sort of only come up with like one way they could have died, by who. The coroner can then suggest it goes back to homicide squad, and that they pursue charges. So those type of things can happen, or at the end, the findings come out and they're made public, or they can be locked due to it's not in the public interest to know this information. So that's sort of how it can work down here. I would expect her being 41 years of age, and with her background, I would expect that there will be a coronial inquest, 100%. Rachel says, can the family release the information even if it's locked? Yes, they can. They can. So I know that Jock Zaffarillo, his widow, his wife, she has that information, but she's chosen to keep it private. which is her right. It's her, her decision. And she was at the inquest anyway, so she would have known the information from the inquest. SP Mama says, born in 1981. It looks like a legit photo to me. I'm a designer, Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign. Yeah, I mean, it looks fairly okay to me. I've done a lot of media work too. There's a couple of things I don't understand, like the black outline. I'm not sure if that's from the flash, which you can see a flash in the window. I'm not sure if that's from the flash bouncing off the window and then coming back in the opposite direction, creating a shadow behind Virginia. But it's something that I saw when I looked at it. LD. Let's have a look. Wendy said, Prince Andrew lives with his ex-wife, Sarah. Yeah, we know who Sarah is. He's never known to have had a relationship with anyone apart from Sarah. It's been bandied about that he is gay. Okay. I mean, you're talking about Sarah Ferguson, right? I think it's his ex-wife. Yeah, ex-wife now, right? They divorced a number of years ago. She was involved in a scandal herself. She was trying to sell access to Andrew for money. She was trying to do this with various people, trying to get money from access to him. So interesting about that. So yeah, I can't say I've ever heard of it, but you would have to ask the question of how they ended up with their two daughters if he is a closeted man. Are you trying to say he's a bisexual man or just gay? Because if he's a gay man, who fathered the children then? Who fathered the two girls? Yeah, closet is just like a shorter word for saying in the closet, right? I don't want to be offensive to gay people though. Like, I like my gay people that come in here. They're nice. So I'm not sure if that's an offensive term or not, but I hope not. All right. Let's see. What is going on over here? Okay. All right. Let's get out of this. So did you guys have a good Friday night? What did you all do? Did you all just sit down and watch the NFL draft? Is that what you guys did? I know it was a big deal for some people. I wanted to show you, so just so we have a little break for about like 2 seconds so we can just reset. I don't like to just keep droning on about the same crap over and over again. I wanted to show you this very, very quickly because if you live in Anchorage, Alaska, this might be something you should pay attention to. Apparently, Mount Spur is experiencing increased activity in the area, and the Alaska Volcano Advisory issued an update on Friday saying that the 11,000 foot tall volcano has a lower level of erupting than reported in March, but warned that an event of eruption is still possible. And they're saying that there's a couple of signs that they normally see. One is ground deformation. It was doing that in March, but it's not anymore. And another thing is there is normally when magma comes to the surface, it melts the snow around the mountain because of the heat from the magma. So you'll often get a lot of what they call snow melt and runoff. But they're saying they're not seeing that at the moment. And these would be signs that they would see right before an eruption because you see all that magma trying to push its way to the surface and you'd get sort of like a little bit of a clue before it happened. They're saying that's not quite where they're at yet, but the increased seismic activity in the area is making them a little uneasy about it. They're saying that there could be an eruption. So if you live in Anchorage, I think you should be very worried. They're saying the last one happened in the 90s, and then there was one in 1952 or 3, and they're the last time it has happened. I was just trying to see if we could find a thing on it. Here, Mount. Let's see if I can find a thing from America for you. Yeah, here we go. Oh no, that was from a week ago. No, we don't want that. We want one for the last 24 hours. Nope, that's not it. That's right. I'll play you the one from the NBC from
A bird's eye view, this Alaskan megavolcano looks peaceful. It's definitely steaming. That heavy steam could mean something explosive is coming.
This is potentially a once-in-a-lifetime thing.
Alaska Helicopter Tours pilot Christian Brown taking riders up to Mount Spur to see it for themselves.
Oh, wow.
As officials warn, it is possible the volcano could erupt in a matter of weeks or months.
It is a snow-capped mountain, but looking inside, seeing the steam coming out, there's a green lake in the middle of it. From a distance, you can tell that it's a large mountain, but as you approach it and you start to really look up at it more and more, the true scale of it becomes pretty apparent.
This entire region is just shaking with earthquakes right now.
Mike Williams can see the steam himself from miles away.
Of course, we got to keep a constant eye on the volcano.
The owner of Eagle Song Peony Farm lives in the remote Alaskan bush, 40 miles from the nearest road, yet close enough to spot Mount Spur.
That's where Mount Spur is. But we haven't seen Spur in over a week now because there is so much steam.
Williams is making long trips to get extra fuel,
Speed up.
preparing in case he needs to hunker down.
So it's been in our minds, it's been in our contingency plans to get all the fuel in that we need. We've been here for 31 years, so Mount Spur is very much a part of our life.
Meanwhile, schools in nearby Anchorage say they have their own eruption plans, with enough masks for staff and students. And while a layer of ash could blanket the state's largest city, the real impact could be in the sky.
Yeah, I'll pause it there because it's a pretty long video. But it did erupt many years ago, and I'll show you a photo from that one if you've never seen it. It looks very dramatic. Here you go. This was from a previous eruption in the 90s. In the 90s? Is Ping telling you rubbish? I do that sometimes. No, 1992 was the last time it erupted, and then before that, 1953. So there you go. That's what it looked like last time it did it. You see that big ash column, and then it hits the top of the atmosphere, and you get almost what looks like an anvil cloud. If you've ever seen a thunderstorm, it hits that top layer, or if there's a cap inversion, and then it flattens out like an anvil. So pretty dramatic, and it affects everyone in the area. Like it'll affect flights and people and waterways because ash comes down and then it gets into the water, makes water undrinkable. It often poisons animals and stuff like that. So if you're in Alaska and you're near Anchorage, we have someone in the chat that lives in Anchorage. I haven't seen her in a while. She's called Evil Alaska, and she lives sort of in that region. So I hope everyone up there is doing okay. It's going to be... I hope it doesn't go kaboom, but they're saying it could. So, hey, Alana, how are you? I hate the word bent. Joe Neals, yeah. Okay, I didn't know that. Hey, Alana, good to see you. So yeah, there you go. An update out of... we don't often do stories out of Alaska. I think I've done like 2 in like 2 years. So we don't often have a lot of stories out of there. I think we did a pretty good one a while ago that was suggested to us about a guy who killed a bunch of women and then like dropped them all around a town in Alaska. He basically murdered them, SA'd them, filmed their death and the abuse that he did to them, and then like dropped their bodies in different places in the town. It was one of the most gruesome crimes. And he filmed himself with his face in the camera while committing the sadistic acts to these women. Like, he's not a very smart murderer, so he's not very clever. But they ended up getting him, so. Joe Neal says, oh, okay, I didn't know that. LD says, Alaska is very dangerous for women. Yeah, it does have a very... It seems to not be sort of as progressive as other areas on women's safety. It seems to be not stuck in like, the 70s or whatever. It just seems like there's a lot more isolation and some of the isolation and lack of help, lack of being able to raise an alarm seems to mean that women are often abused or hurt or something like that. And their numbers on DV are actually quite high because they have these periods of time where people spend a lot of times indoors, or almost like when people were locked down for the pandemic, and there was a rise in DV. Sort of very similar effect up there, unfortunately. I haven't seen Evil Alaska in a few months. I hope she's doing okay, but I know she's got spotty internet. Like her internet's not great out of where she lives. So maybe something happened to her, like satellite or something like that, because I haven't seen her since January, maybe maybe the start of the year. So maybe a snowstorm or something knocked out her satellite. So I hope not. I hope she's doing okay. Moonlight View says, predatory, lonely caveman. Hey, my sweetheart, how are you? Moonlight View is the sweetest lady, I tell you. Moonlight View, if I was single, you would have to stop me. I swear. No, I'm just kidding. Can you email her? So I don't have a Rolodex of people's emails. Sometimes people email me. Sometimes we talk outside of the show. Sometimes people talk to me on Twitter or Facebook or whatever. But I don't think Evil Alaska has ever written to me. She might have. Hold on, let me search. Yeah, I'm going to search my... Oh, I do have her email. Okay, I can send her an email. Yeah, I'll send her an email right now. Hopefully you guys can't see my screen, so I'm not doxing anyone. Give me a sec. Hey. Good work, Ping. You could spell things properly. Anchorage. Oh, there we go. All right. All right, there we go. Okay. Shot her off an email. So if she gets back to me, I'll let you know. Yeah, I keep in touch with as many people as I can. Unfortunately, since the channel has started to become a little bit more popular, my emails have increased exponentially. And I'll give you an example. And I do my best to try and talk to as many people as I can. But just this year, since I wiped my email when we got the new computer at the start of the year. Just in the last 3 months, I've had 1,312 emails. And this email is not known like to any spam things or anything. So these are all people that have written in. 1,613 over almost 2,000 emails in 3 months. So I do my best to keep up with people as much as I can. It's almost a full-time job replying to people. That's why, like, I read all the comments that people leave under the video, but I can't reply anymore. It's become so full on, and someone will get me because I know before I was a YouTuber, I used to bitch at creators. I'd be like, "You don't reply to any of your comments. You're an asshole." And then I got my channel and I got a little more people on it. And when I first started and we had like 100 people, I could reply to all the comments every day. And then when I started, because I do a show every day, if you don't answer in like a week, I have like over 150 comments to get back to, plus the emails and stuff. So I'm not trying to make anyone feel sorry for me. I'm just saying it's almost getting to a point where it's starting to get a little like I'm not going to be able to do it. And that's why I've sort of dropped replying to comments, but I do reply to people's emails. But I read all the comments. Every time someone leaves a comment, I read it. I just can't always reply. So I hope people understand that. Oh, you might have to refresh. You only see 87, Sip. That's okay. People will like it when they like it. I'm not concerned. Bloody people. Sorry, I got an email about my hotel. So if you don't know, if you're new to this channel, depending on where you live, if you live in Australia on Monday, if you live in America on Sunday, I leave. I'm going away for 2 weeks. So I'm actually going up to a trial. I'm actually going up to a trial in Australia about a woman who is accused of poisoning people with death cap mushrooms. So if you've never heard of this case, you can probably, I can't say anything because we're in trial phase right now, which means I can't report on it until I get there and we open the trial. So just Google what I just said if you've not heard of it. So yeah, if you're new here, we're heading out on Monday or Sunday, and we're driving about 3 hours east of me, and I'm staying at a hotel for the trial. So we're heading out there. We're going to be covering the trial live, and you guys will be the first ones to hear anything out of the trial every day. I'll be faster than the news agencies. So I'll be back at my hotel room on a live stream telling you what happened in court that day. I reckon before news.com or whatever can get their articles up. So probably more detail than they'll give you as well. Gail says, better not put the price up again. Oh my God. Mrs. Ping was so mad. She's like, how much is it going to cost to do the trial? And I was like, for the first week only, it's $1,050. And she's like, no, you're not going. She goes, not for over $1,000. And I'm like, I have to go. Like I'm already committed. I have other projects that I've already agreed to do. I have my stuff I need to do on the channel. And I'm like, we're just going to have to eat the cost. And yeah, so we originally last year we booked an Airbnb, and then 3 months later they canceled. And then I booked a hotel, and it was quite cheap. I think about 120 a night. And then a week before trial, about 3 days ago, they canceled the booking and said pricing was incorrect. And then they doubled the price. So I think it was like 120 originally, and they put it up to 220 per night. So we ended up paying over $1,000 for 1 week. So 2 weeks is going to be like $2,180. Yeah, it's just, what can you do? They do this everywhere. If you go to Coachella, they do it. If you go to the PGA Tour, they do it. Anytime anything comes to a small regional town that relies on tourism, that's what they do. Like, what can you do about it? If you want to go, you have to pay. So that's just what it is. No, you don't have to send me anything. I don't ask for donations during my show. I'm just telling you the crazy stuff that's happened. I'm not asking for anything. I appreciate the thought though, but it's my job. It's my channel. I got to deal with it. So, Rachel said it should be illegal to do that at a hotel. There's law. No, there's terms and conditions when you do bookings through those like Expedia and all that. Look in their terms and conditions. There's things in there that say like, oh, if they think the price was done incorrect at the time, they can just cancel. Right. So there's loopholes that they use to get out of it, and they do it quite frequently. So, yeah. I hope everyone's having a good night. Let's see. Yeah, it should be illegal. Unfortunately, it's not really. I think it is, but no one enforces it. I think that's part of it. But yeah, no, we're gonna have fun. I promise. The hotel is is okay. It's funny. I told this story the other night. We were looking for a different hotel because when they canceled, we were like, well, maybe we could stay at a different place, somewhere that's not twice as much. Anyway, we found a hotel that was like right next to the courthouse. I was like, I'll stay there. I can just walk to court in the morning. And then we read the reviews, and the reviews are like, 1 star, 1 star, 1 star. And people were saying that the police station and the courthouse next door, when people are bailed from court and don't have anywhere to go, they put them in the motel next to the courthouse. And people are saying, unfortunately, the motel has become overrun with drug addicts and uh, just rough people. And they break into rooms and take people's belongings and steal stuff. And I was like, I have to go up there for not just one night. I'm there for 2 weeks. I don't really want to. I don't know if I want to stay there. It's great location next to the courthouse, but I don't want to die in my sleep on a work trip. I don't want to end up on the national news for being murdered in a country town in Australia. I don't want to do that. That's not what I. It's not what I'm planning to do. I'm planning to go work, but not be the story. I don't want to be the story. So we didn't stay there. We found a place that has good security. They're a little further away from the courthouse, but they've got a better rating. They got security, all that kind of thing. So it's fine. Ping will be safe. I promise. And if anyone wants to fight me, they can. Go look for the 6'2" Australian that will kick your ass. Because I will. I will. No, I won't. I'll just run and hide, but it's fine. Gayla says Mrs. P would need to do the stream all about you. I don't think she would do that. She is not a. She's the quiet one. Between me and her, I'm the one that talks too much, and she's the one who doesn't talk at all. So, which is weird because when we're out in public, everyone wants to talk to her, and no one wants to talk to me. Yeah, I'll talk to you for hours, and she hates talking to other people. So, I don't know why everyone always approaches her, but they do. She would never do a live stream. Never, ever, ever. She does not like it. She doesn't not. It's just not her thing. She doesn't want to do media or anything like that. So, not her thing. She can do it like Stacy with no camera. You know, I've tried to work with Stacy on that. I'm like, Stacy, hey, um, I'll buy you a camera. Like, I was like, Stacy, I'll buy you a camera. Like, I want you to do like what we do. And she's like, no, I've already got a camera. I don't really want to be on camera. So she doesn't want to do that either. LD says Mrs. P sounds like a wise woman. She is pretty wise. She is pretty wise. Moonlight View says highway lowdown robbery, YouTube abuse of equitable fairness. Yeah, I don't think it's just that. I think there's a lot of media going up. So there's 2 documentary crews that are going to be there. One that I know. There's another one that's coming up that I don't know. There's 8 or 9 media organizations that are coming up so that they're going to be staying in the area too. There's other people, witnesses, people for court, all sorts of people that are coming up. So this little tiny, it's not a little tiny town, it's like a regional town. This regional town, their population is going to increase by about 300 people for 2 weeks. For no, actually, it's going to be about a month and a half, but I'm going to be there for 2 weeks. So their population is going to go kaboom for like this trial. So it's supposed to be the biggest trial in Victorian history, in modern history. So people are saying that this could be as big as like Lindy Chamberlain, that type of thing. You know, Dingo ate my baby. They're saying it could be that iconic. So that's the only reason I would spend the money and do it, is because one, I've followed the case since day one on this channel. If you go back to my very first video, it may be about that case. And we've followed it for almost 2 years now. So Alana says, my eyes are finally getting sleepy. Thanks for dropping by though and hanging out with us. I appreciate it. Sorry I've been talking about my stupid ass for a little bit now, but people always want to know. So. What the hell? Where did this come from? Guys, give me a sec. I'm gonna have to pause all this. Give me a sec. one of our news videos that we're watching went to some weird channel that is about abusing women or something. My YouTube algorithm must be all messed up because of all the stuff we search for. Yeah. All right. Let me check. There was a small update that came out like 2 minutes ago about Virginia. Let me have a look. You know, I've talked about this before. The Daily Mail has some sort of sexual fixation on people's house prices. Do you remember? I've talked about this before. What is in the title here? Oh, you know, a $1.9 million mansion. I don't know why they're so fixated on people's homes. Every time in an article, they're like, "Did you know they lived in a $750,000 house?" No one cares. Like, no one cares. She died. We care why she died. We don't care how much her house cost. They said new details have emerged about Virginia's final moments as she was found unresponsive in a rural town in Western Australia, as those closest to her break cover at the family's $1.9 million mansion in Perth. They're saying Virginia, yeah, we know all that. So they're saying at 9:50 p.m. Friday the 25th of April, which was last night in Australia, emergency services received a report a woman had been located unresponsive at the residence. Be interesting to know who found her at the residence. Was it a neighbor? Was it a family member? Like, who found her and why at 10 o'clock at night? Were they unable to get in touch with her earlier? And they were worried and they're like, oh, we're a little worried about her. They said police in St. John, WA attended and provided emergency first aid. Sadly, the 41-year-old woman was declared deceased at the scene. And they just said that major crime detectives are investigating. Early indication is the death is not suspicious. But you can actually see, is that a, oh, it's just some sort of car, okay. This is her home, apparently, where she used to live. That's her brother, that's that photo, that's some guy with a cake. And yeah, that's about the only update we've got. They're just saying that there seems to be family arriving at the home. You know, it makes me wonder about that. You know, every time we see someone that passes away and then all of a sudden, like, everyone shows up and it's like, where were they earlier? Why were they not, like, helping her out earlier? Like, maybe they were, but you always go, would they have done this if they didn't die? Like, I always wonder that myself. It's listening to stuff I say. It must be. Good night. See you, LD. Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you. It's nice to find new people. I like it. Buttercup. Hey, Buttercup. Fact is, she lied about everything and was under investigation herself for trafficking and procurement. Hope Andrew claws the money back. Okay. I mean, you're not the first person I've heard to accuse her of that. I've heard other people who have said, you know, that the photo was fake and she inserted herself into an investigation. I've heard these things before. I don't know. I wasn't there. All I can tell you is what I've seen. But I appreciate the comment. I do. I appreciate your point of view. Maybe I don't know if she even has any of the money left. You got to think of all the money she's spent over the last, like, what is it, 5, 8 years? She bought that house. It's millions of dollars. Who knows how much Andrew gave her? It could all be gone by now. Maybe most of it's, you know, been used on property or buying things or whatever. Could have been put in a trust for her children. That could have been something that happened too. I mean, a smart person would do that. Like, would put, if they had a windfall like that, they'd put a chunk of it for their children. So it might be in the will and testament for her. Maybe we'll find out at some point. Let's see. I don't think there's any more real updates, guys. I think yeah, I think any way you look at it, it's a little sad. I don't know. Do you think you will ever find the truth of all of this? Do you think we'll ever get to the bottom of some of the mysteries between Virginia, Epstein, and Maxwell? Do you think any of the full story will ever come to the surface that we'll ever hear about? I don't know. Probably not. Probably not. We will never know the full truth. Yeah, that's what I would think, that she has accounts for her children. Let's see, what time is it? Okay. Hey, my ladies and gentlemen, being that it is so late at night, I think we're going to wind up. I just want to flick to another panel. Hold on. All right. Okay, I think we're going to wind up. I don't really have that many more stories. Oh, actually, I have one more. Where is it? I have one more that I wanted to share, a news story. I've got too many links open. There was a story out of, I want to say, actually, I'm not going to tell you a state because I'm probably going to get it wrong. And if I can find it, we'll do it. I have too many links open. Hold on. Is it this one? No. It's not this one either. All right, you guys are going to have to give me a second so I can filter through all my... No, it's not the Koberger trial. We're not doing that. It's not this one. We have far too many links. I'm going to have to find a better way of doing this. Is it this one? Nope, that's about the NFL. Is it... it's this one. I found it. All right. This one out of South Carolina. Geez, South Carolina. I feel like we talk about that place all the time. Coronial Mike, 17, was arrested in Richburg. Police say his parents are accused of helping him avoid arrest. They say parents of teen charged with murder in gas station shooting have been arrested. So they're saying a 16-year-old shot and killed at a Rock Hill gas station late Tuesday night, police said. Rock Hill police responded to the shooting at a Quick Trip on Cherry Road just before 11:30 p.m. When officers arrived, they found a 16-year-old who'd been shot in the chest. The teen was taken to Piedmont Medical Center where he was pronounced dead. Later in the afternoon, the county coroner's office identified the victim as Jaden Reed of Chester. Detectives identified 17-year-old Coronial Mike as the suspect in the shooting. He was taken into custody in Richburg, South Carolina, and transported to the Rock Hill jail. Mike was charged with murder, possession of a firearm during the commission of a violent crime, and possession of a firearm by a person under the age of 18. Rock Hill police said Mike is being charged as an adult in the case. Mike's mother and
to set this up. So the headline reads, parents of teen...
Tonight, WC...
They say his mother and stepfather, LaShonda Collins and Anthony Collins, were arrested on Tuesday and charged with misprision of a felony, and the pair is accused of helping Mike avoid arrest after they were made aware of the deadly shooting. So his parents tried to cover it up and basically hide the fact that they knew about the crime. So let me play. This is only a 25-second video, but let's play it.
Tonight, WCNC Charlotte has learned the parents of the 17-year-old charged with murder in Rock Hill have also been arrested. 48-year-old Anthony Collins and 41-year-old LaShondra Collins have been charged with misprision of a felony. Police telling us that they were not helpful when authorities tried to find 17-year-old Coronial Mike. He's charged with murder after that shooting Tuesday night at a Rock Hill gas station.
So let me take you back. I do have the original news clip before he was arrested. So this was back a couple of days ago when that shooting first occurred.
We start with breaking news out of Rock Hill, where police say a 16-year-old is dead after a shooting at a Quick Trip. It happened just before 11:30 last night at the gas station on South Cherry Road. Officers say they arrested 17-year-old Coronial Mike in connection to that shooting. He is now being charged as an adult. At this time, the victim has not been identified. We will continue to follow the latest developments on this case.
Well, that victim was identified later on. We read about it just before. That victim was a 16-year-old, and yeah, just a young kid, basically shot in the chest at a gas station. His name was Jaden Reed. So he ended up being identified by the county coroner, and yeah, they arrested the parents for trying to help their son cover up the crime, keep him out of custody. That was basically what that misprison of a felony is about. It's because they actively engaged after knowing about the crime, a murder. He committed a murder, so they decided to hold those parents accountable as well. No, I don't see a reason for why it happened. I just see that there was some sort of confrontation at the gas station, and the accused pulled out a weapon and shot the 16-year-old boy. So, for what reason, I'm not sure. Hey, Plead the Fifth, how are you? Good to see you. Carlisa said, arrested for not being helpful. They must have been more involved. Like I just said, I don't think it's because of that. I think it's more because when you become knowledgeable about a felony or a crime, when you don't report that and you have a close proximity to the accused, like it's your son or brother or something like that, and the police can prove that you knew about it, you can be charged as well. So that's why they were charged. It's because of they were complicit in his like after the fact. So yeah, that's why. So yeah, Jaden Reed. Let me see if I can find a photo of Jaden. I don't think they showed one. Let me check WCCB Charlotte. Do they have a photo of him? They don't. I don't have a photo of him. Like that's very strange. I'm not sure if it's because he's underage, because he's only 16 years old. They haven't put out a photo. That could be why. Oh, wow, really? Thank you, Rachel. Let me have a look. Oh, that's wow, really nice tornado out of Texas this evening that Rachel just showed me. I can't play the footage. It's from Storm Chaser Ben Holcomb. Holcomb? I hope that's right. Yeah, Ben Holcomb. So if you know Storm Chaser Ben Holcomb on Twitter, you can check out that footage that he took in Texas tonight. Pretty cool. Let's see. Rap battle gone. Why? I don't think that's what happened. I don't think they were rapping at a service station, at a gas station. I don't think that's what happened. All right. I love you all. We've been on for almost 2 hours now. I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you tomorrow night. If we get any more information about Virginia, keep an eye on my Twitter at Nights with Ping. I will probably post it there. When I'm not here doing a live show, I'm normally posting on Twitter. So find me there. Find me there. And if not, leave a comment. I always read them. May not reply, but I read everyone's comments every night. So just know that I do hear what you're saying. Rachel said, I thought that video was cool. Yeah, it's a cool video. I just can't play it because it's his video. Joe Neal says, it's always a rap battle gone. No, could be. Remember Facebook? Yeah, we have a Facebook at Nights with Ping as well. I'm a little bad with updating it and being on Facebook because I just don't like Facebook, but it is there and you can reach me there. Yeah, link in chat. You could probably just search it and find it. I'll fix the bot. We have a bot that's supposed to give the links. I'll put the new Facebook one in the bot tonight. I love you all. Hey, tomorrow we're testing out a new camera. Tomorrow, tomorrow's live show, we're testing out a new camera setup that we'll be using at the trial. So come tomorrow night and you'll get to see the higher quality wide angle video for tomorrow. So that'll be cool. And I'm sure we'll have more cases tomorrow for you as well. Maybe we'll have more about the volcano. Who knows? I love you all. Have a great Saturday out there. And if you were watching the NFL draft, I hope your team drafted who you wanted them to. I hope your team's going to be amazing. The Niners, the 49ers, all defense. No offense. Everyone on the defense, they just chose like a DT, a DE, a linebacker, and a cornerback. So they're just going full on defense. And the Niners are going to smash people next year. I love you all. Niners forever. Peace out.